Hi guys, welcome to today's video. What we're going to go through today is a quick stretch routine that you can do after exercise. The aim of this activity is to restore pre-exercise length into the muscles. So for example, when we've done some running, our legs might be a little bit tight. We're going to stretch for between 10 and up to 15 seconds on each activity, and that's a really good time scale to just get a gentle stretch onto the muscle and restore that pre-exercise length. If your goal is more about flexibility, then what we can do is increase the time of the stretch from maybe up to 30 seconds, and that's going to be best done as a separate session rather than straight after an intense workout, because your muscles are already fatigued, so you risk doing some damage if you hold them too long straight after exercise. Okay, so just to recap that, so up to 15 seconds after exercise, up to 30 seconds if you're looking to become more flexible on a rest day or an easy day of exercise. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to start off. I've just finished a run. I'm going to start just loosening the tension in the shoulders and the waist, and then I'll get into the legs stretching. So I'm going to just take an arm across, and I'm going to grab, not the elbow, but I'm going to grab somewhere on the forearm here and pull it across, keeping my shoulders back. I'll show you from the side. So my right arm across. So again, hold up to 15 seconds if it's after exercise. So we could do that twice each side. If you want to do that, just pause the video and do it again. And I'm going to go to the next stretch. So up and over, stretching down my waist. I see a lot of people cave forward with this. We want to keep straight down the side of that leg. Use the arm to stretch up through the side. And then gently across to the other side. People always ask me, should stretches hurt? Or they think there's something wrong if it doesn't hurt. They only hurt if your muscles are tight. They shouldn't really hurt. So if they are hurting a little bit, just relax into the stretch. Don't try and force any extra intensity out of it, because your muscles will just resist. Okay, so again, you can do that twice each leg, each side. And I'm going to go on to some leg stretches. So the first one, for the front of the thigh here, hold on to something if you need to. Grab the shoelaces or the tongue of your shoe. And what we're looking for here is that we keep the knee under the hip. So not out to the side and not touching, because your knees don't naturally travel that way. They should be under the hip. And changing legs. Again, you don't need to hold on if your balance is okay. To get a bit more stretch with this one, if that's not doing too much, push your hip forward whilst you keep the foot in towards your butt. And of course, think about your posture with all of these stretches. Okay, so again, we can do that one twice each side. The next one is going to be for the hamstrings. I'm going to have just a slight bend in the knees. So you can see that there. So I'm not down here and I'm not locking them out straight, just a slight bend. And I'm just going to gradually come forward. At the moment, I'm keeping my back straight. At least I hope I am. And I'm sitting my butt back. And I'm going to come up. And this time I'm going to do it again. And then I'm going to let the back relax down. So into more of a stretch in the lower back as well for me. Hamstrings. Some people like to just grab the arms here. Some people like to try and grab the toes. If you can't get that far, don't worry. Go as far as you can. If you practice this a couple of times a week, you will gradually get further. And again, up to 15 seconds after exercise, 2 times on each stretch. So another one for that area, we're going to go one leg forward. I'm going to keep the front leg straight and bend the back leg. And I'm going to sit backwards like I'm trying to sit on this sofa. So from the side, straight leg at the front, bent leg at the back, and sitting back. And I'm really hinging the hip, pushing the bottom backwards and down to get a stretch in this straight leg. If you are resting on a leg, make sure you put your hands onto the bent leg, because we don't want to push against this knee joint that's not designed to bend that way if we were to push. Or you can keep your hands in front or on your hips, because the push back should be coming from here rather than the hands. So 15 seconds, I'm going to change legs, show you from the front. Straight leg, bent leg at the back, pushing bottom down and back. If you can keep good posture with this one again, it really helps you get the stretch through the right position. Okay, I'm going to come up from there. Again, if you are following along straight after a run, feel free to keep pausing so you can do it a second time each side. Don't skip ahead. So the next one we're going to do is for the inside of the leg. If you've been running up and down some hills, playing some football, doing some kind of MetaFit workout, you're going to be tight on the inside and outside of the legs as well. A lot of runners miss this one, but they shouldn't miss it. So I'm going to bend one knee, but before I do that, I'm not just going to hold it there. I'm going to try and activate the stretch, thinking about where the muscles attach and trying to lengthen from the points of insertion. So I'm bending this knee and I'm driving this hip across. So if you can think like something like that action, and then bend the knee, and then I don't have to bend very far, and there's a stretch right through that inside of the leg, your adductor muscles. With the feet, they should both be pointed forwards, and this knee should be just over the foot there. Nice posture again. Up, and we'll change sides, so swing the hips to that side, so to my right, and then the right knee. And the stretch should be in the left leg. If that isn't doing much for you, you can bend the knee a bit more, but don't do it so much that that foot just comes off, because as soon as we remove contact there, we've lost the stretch. If anything, try and think about the hips going more across. Again, we're not leaning forward with this one. Just really think about where you're trying to stretch. Okay, I'm going to come out with there. So we're going to move on to the calf muscles, the back of the leg. So the first one, I'm going to use a wall. I'm going to have for the dog, both my feet on the floor, both pointing forwards. The main point here is we keep the back foot down, and we're going to try and stretch it as far as we can, but keeping the heel pushing down into the floor. And I'm just pushing into the wall to get a little bit more stretch in the calf. Now, if you have been running or football or doing some kind of HIIT activity where you're jumping around a lot, your calves might take a lot of the impact. So we'll do a few stretches for the calves. So I'm going to change legs. Again, as far back as you can, but not so much that it lifts up. It must be driving down. Heel, back heel to the floor. You get the best stretch here by creating the biggest length from your back heel into towards the hip, or even think about the posture right through the top of the neck and the head. Rather than down here, that stretch is gone off now. So nice and tall. Okay, so that's one calf stretch. We're now going to look at another part of the calf muscle. So Instead of having that back leg straight, we're actually going to bend it forwards. So from this position, we're going to bend both knees forward. The front foot's really for balance here. It's the back when we're trying to drive the knee forward while keeping the heel down. So it's the back leg, the knee forward, the heel down. Again, we can use the wall for a little bit of push. You might get a little bit of a stretch in the side of your calf muscle. You might get a little bit of a stretch around the ankle and the Achilles, depending on where you're at. And then the other side, I'm going to use the wall a bit more. So both legs go forward. It's the back leg we're stretching. This one here. Heel down, knee forward. And the wall to help. If you don't have a wall, that's fine. You can use the sofa. I'm sure you all have a wall if you're stuck inside during this lockdown. Okay. And I'm going to come off from this. There's 2 calf stretches. We're going to do one more. This one's easier done off a step. So if you have a step outside the house, I do, but it's a bit windy outside. And also, if you've got an upstairs, you could use that. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to use this piece of apparatus. So make sure it doesn't collapse or topple over. But I'm just going to put the front half of the foot off the edge of the, we're going to call it a step. It's actually a trampoline. And I'm just stretching, again the heel driving down, trying to create the length from the bottom of the heel to the hip. And I'm going to just try changing legs. Some people do these both legs at a time off a step, but then if you've got one particular tight side, so my right leg is a little bit tighter there, that restricts how much the left leg's going to stretch because the right one will control the limit. It's a really useful way of doing things individually to notice if you've got any weaknesses or potential injuries or imbalances. And we're going to come off from there. Again, remember, if you are doing these at home and you want to do them twice each side, pause the video between each one. Got a couple of stretches left to do. So we're going to look at one of the muscles in the bottom, or the bum, called the piriformis. And a lot of runners will get a bit of tightness here. So the easiest way to stretch this one is sitting down. You're going to lift one leg over the other and then hug around the shin and hug it into your chest towards your sternum. And I like to try and again sit up a bit straighter. Again, I'm trying to create length around the muscles we're trying to stretch. So if we sit back a bit, that kind of relaxes off here. If we try and sit up correctly, it's definitely a greater stretch for me. And then changing legs. So again, this is my left leg now comes over the right. The right leg just stays flat on the floor. Hug around the top of the shin into the sternum, that's the middle of your chest. Remembering the posture. Okay, I'm going to do one more stretch to finish up. It's for the outside of the hip and a little bit into this IT band, this band down the side of our legs. This is I feel a gentle stretch, so don't worry if you don't feel it. I'm going to do another video a little bit later on other techniques to stretch things like your glutes, your hips, your IT band a little bit more in depth, and the hamstrings as well. Some of those problem areas for runners and sports players. But for now, we're going to keep it to fairly simple, easy to follow along stretches. So I'm going to leave one leg on the floor. So that's my left leg. The right leg comes across. Now because this left leg's at the back, that's the leg I'm going to try and stretch. So it's the back leg. I'm going to drive the hip of the left leg out to the left, and then I'm going to try and just create length around the top of the hip, around the bottom of the hip, and just under the glutes there. So driving that out. Again, the more you can push your hip out to the side, the more you will get this stretch. Okay, now I'll show you the right side from the side on view. So the right leg's on the floor, left leg comes across, and it's the right leg at the back. So I'm going to push out towards the right hip, and up, and over. Once I'm up, I'm still pushing the right hip out to the right side, keeping the feet on the floor. Now again, I hear mixed results with that one. If you don't find you're feeling much of a stretch, you could try lengthening that gap at the back, play around with it a little bit. But as I say, there's going to be some more videos that stretches slightly differently for me there. I'm going to put some more videos on soon, so you can stretch those areas a little bit more detailed, and we're also going to be posting some self-myofascial release videos as well, so things like foam rolling and massage techniques that might just help you, if you're a little bit more active, help you shift on some of those muscle tensions and injuries that maybe you didn't know were starting to occur, but once you have a go on these foam rollers you might just find out. Okay, so thank you for watching. Good luck. Just to recap, if you're following along after exercise, twice each side or each leg for 15 seconds or 10 to 15 seconds. If you're doing this on a rest day or trying to become more flexible, you want to hold these for up to 30 seconds, but again, it's just a gradual hold. We're not trying to force our limbs to become longer than they actually are. Okay, good luck. Let me know how you got in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.